What's up, everybody? Bulldog Racing coming at you from Wolf Creek, Oregon, home of the Bulldog Race headquarters. What's up, man? Today we're up in my shop, and we're going to go over something that's near and dear to a lot of our hearts, and that is full Balsa Fenders. Let me explain. Balsa Fenders, boy, they were hard for me to figure out. I wanted to be like Lightning Boy. I wanted to be like Hurricane. I wanted to get up there and figure out how to run these fenders. I was watching all the cars that are winning and beating me and kicking my dust, and those were those cars, you know. And what car that I really liked was a Kinzer's Man of the Mountain car. That car, he did a full Balsa fender, and he left it naked, man. He showed us all. There was no seams in that fender. It was beautiful, man, and I really liked that fender. So I got to work, and I tried to make my own. I went through a lot of trial and error. Hurricane steered me straight on some of my errors, and I think I've been getting better at them. I enjoy doing them. They are a definite little bit of art involved, and a little bit of just understanding how these things work. So I'm going to go through my system, and I'm going to tell you right now, this isn't as good as Hurricane. It isn't as good as Lightning Boy. Those guys obviously got something figured out that we don't, but this is the best that I got. So I want to really help the street stock class. I want to increase participation. A lot of you guys committed to race that class, so that's why this video is getting made. I'm going to show you how I do it, and it's a reasonable amount of time, and it's with pretty elementary tools. There's nothing fancy about it. It's just some elbow grease. So we're going to go over that. I want to thank my son, Willie. I'm going to show you guys who's filming here. Say what's up, Will.
What's up?
Oh, now you're hard, huh? Introduce yourself.
Well, I'm William Quist for Bulldog Racing.
All right, man. Thanks for filming for us today, buddy. Appreciate it. Willie became a Boy Scout here recently. He's almost got his first class already, so good job, Will.
Thanks.
Proud of you, bud. Okay, so where do we begin?
Right here.
So this here is my car body. This is a raw body. I got it ready for fenders. So I like to get my car built and ready for fenders, and this is where I begin. So this is the car. Now what I like to do is I like to start with, don't get too close, Will, but you know, show them what we're doing, but you know, make sure that they can follow us. So these are just normal wheels and axles, and these are this car is going to be built for box stock. So I'm going to use full wheels and the normal BSA axles for this car, and I'm going to show you how I build fenders for a box stock. You really want to have the right wheels that you're going to run on that car with you, or something that's cut the same, so that you can get your fenders correct. So when you're getting ready to start your car, make sure you have the right size wheels. If you're going to run, you know, a 1.17 with 7.5 millimeter tread, that's what you need to have when you're laying out your fenders. At least that's what I like, so I get my gaps right. I've done it where I use full wheels, and then I use a shorter wheel, and holy cow, the fender looks silly on there. So keep that in mind. So we got full wheels, full axles, and I pre-bent one of these axles so that it's ready to put in the dominant front wheel. So that's ready to go, and that's what I'll build the car with. Now, when I'm building this car and I'm sanding, I don't care if I accidentally hit one of the wheels, but you can do this without sanding the car with the wheels on. It's just you got to take them on and off more times than I'm going to do tonight. So here's something that really helps me out, and it makes this process fairly quick. This is a metal sanding disc. If you look at the back, I actually just got this at Home Depot. It's a Diablo 50 grit. It's made for sanding metal. So that's what I use, and this is what I glue to this wheel to give me something to cut through this balsa to give me that radius. So if I want to do a smaller wheel, I could cut a smaller wheel on my lathe, or I can get a junk wheel that's that same diameter and do the same thing, or you can use full radius and then just work your fender that way. But let me show you how I do it. So here's my glue. My glue of choice is 2P10. I use this in my shop a lot for cabinet work, and any super glue and accelerator will work for this. But I'll show you what I do here. I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to this wheel. I'm going to spray some accelerator here, and I'm just going to hold that nice and tight. Give it how long, Will?
10 seconds.
That's right, 10 seconds, man. So we'll let that dry for about 10 seconds. Has it been 10 seconds? Not yet?
About now.
I think we're good. I think that wheel's stuck on there pretty good. So now I'm just going to take some normal little scissors here, and we're just going to, I'll rough cut it first. Now this stuff, the reason I like this paper is because it's very rigid, and it works very well going through that balsa. And I'm making a new one, but I have the old one sitting over there, and I've used it on a lot of sets of fenders, just one wheel. So I'm just showing you how I do it. This little trick is what helped me get that radius just super easy. It's like a saw cutting through that stuff. So, and again, I'm a little nervous on camera. I'm very camera shy, as you guys all know, so if I mess up, it is what it is, man. You get what you pay for, guys. Okay, so there's the wheel. That's the trade secret right there. That's worth price of admission right there, guys. So what I do with this is I just chuck this up on my little cheap drill press here. And I just use the bore to chuck that up. So that's chucked up on there. And then I'll actually move my table here. Get a scrap of plywood. I'll be right back here. Alright, Will, watch out. I'm going to cut this. I got a scrap of plywood. Make sure it'll plunge all the way into that plywood. That way I'm not sanding my table. And there you go, I'm set up now to cut through the balsa. And that'll give me the right radius. Alright, so let's go back here. Let's look at our balsa. Am I using any special balsa? Nope. I got this pack of balsa. It's just a miscellaneous pack. I got it at my hobby shop for 10 bucks. What I do is I cut it to 1 1/8 tall by 1/2 inch wide, and I cut it in strips. So that's where I start. That's the start of the fender right there. So let's go ahead and start a radius on this. So first thing I do is I'll cut a square line. Just a nice clean end there. And I'm going to take it over here to the drill press, and I want to get it halfway. I want to get that radius just halfway in that balsa, so it's a nice even half moon there. So I'll press it just to see. Okay, I can adjust it a little bit. Now I'm going to go through it. So I just plunge through it. And there you go. That's my radius. This is real easy to sand off, but there's your start. What do you think of that, Will?
Cool.
Now I put this clean edge to the car because I know this is getting sanded off, so this clean edge goes to the car. But let me show you another trick that I like to do. So right now, I like to cut these so they're nice and square and clean, so you can see that's ready to rock. Now I'm going to put the wheels on the car. So we'll start with my dominant side. And I'm going to get my steer set about where I get it set so that I know my fenders won't rub. Okay, I like that right there. I'm going to go ahead and put my rear end. My rear end. You hear that, Willie? Is that kind of funny?
Yeah.
Got to have some humor, right, buddy?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so now there's where it's going to go on the rear. Here's the front. Now this is what I like to do. I used to measure it all out, but now I just cheat. And I'll raise that up So I'm going to raise that wheel up so it's just hitting that fender. And then I'm just going to draw the apex here, the high point of my wheel. So now I know that's my spread. Okay, that's gonna get it very tight. So let's go ahead and I'll trim it, where it's a little closer. I'll use that as my front fender. We're gonna go over here to the sander. What do you think of that, Will?
I think this is pretty cool.
Okay, so that time, no fur because I pushed it against that just right before I left it. I pulled it off. All right, let's, what do we do now, Will?
We cut the ends.
Yep, cut the ends. Why do we cut the ends?
So it's nice and square.
Okay. So you can see I got off a little bit. I'm not completely centered, but let's put it on the car because I know we're going to be really tight, and then we'll just take a little bit off at a time. So there's the car. Are you picking this up on film okay, Will?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now you can see we're really tight. It won't even go down. So where do I want to take it off here? So I'm going to look at the car. I kind of like where that's ending. Kind of like where that's in. I kind of like the spacing of them right now. So now I'm just gonna take some off of this right here, and just go a little bit at a time here. Okay, let's check that out. Okay, so we're really close. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw an arrow so I know, okay, this is where I'm testing it. That's up, and then I know that's the in. Actually, I like this going inside better. That's a smoother surface. Ooh, look at that, guys. Look at that fit. So we got a really, really tight fit right there. So this is where we'll go up. This will be up, and this will be out. So we're going to face that out. Okay, so now I'm just going to take a little bit more off, and I'm actually, see how I don't like it this high on my wheel, so I'm going to cheat into this part a little bit. And we're going to, I like where that one's ending, but this one I want it just below. You don't want your trailing fender above the wheel. You want it behind the wheel a little bit, so that's what we're going to do. Let's try that. See how do you think that'll be, buddy?
I think it'll be pretty nice.
Okay, so we're still, you can start to see the gaps. You know, we got a little gap there, but that's still too close for comfort for me. I want some more room. What do you think, Will? More room?
Yeah, let's do more room.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it, buddy. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Now, fenders aren't going to help you if they rub the body or rub the wheels. So, yeah, you want them nice and close, but goodness gracious, guys, if they're rubbing, not going to help. See, look how clean that wheel cuts through it.
It's nice.
Not bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's our face out. Okay, this is starting to look better. I got a little daylight there. I got a little daylight there. I think I want a little bit more room, guys. So I'm going to do a little bit more room. I'm actually going to do it on this back one because it's this front one's even better already. So I'm just kind of burnishing that too with the side of the tire. and that plastic really like melts it almost, makes that balsa very slick. So, little trick for you. Okay, I'm liking those gaps. That looks better to me. Maybe a little big for some of you, but for me on this box stock, I'm going to be safe, and I know it's not going to rub. So we're going to cut this off. Cut that a little bit more. Let's check that. Okay. There you go. You know, that actually, doggone it, that's a little bit too big. So we're going to go ahead and make it again. And we're going to make it a little bit tighter. I'm just not 100% happy with that. But now we have a template. So you could even make a template like this once you get it and keep it in your shop, and then you know how big to make it. Okay, here we go. You okay, Will?
Yeah, I'm fine.
So you can see my line. I just stayed inside the line a little bit there. Let's see how that looks. Okay, now we're back to being real tight. So we're going to pick which side's up on this. I kind of like it just like that, because I'm going to cut the bottom lower. So this is going to be up and this is out. We'll move that one now. I'm just going to not go so aggressive this time and showing off, and I'm going to take a little bit less off. Okay, let's try that. Ooh, perfect. So you can see our gaps there. Can you see those, Will?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's what we're going to do now. Now, I'm going to go ahead and glue this on. Okay? I'm going to show you how I glue that on. Are you interested in seeing that, Willie?
Indeed I am.
Okay, I got a junk axle right here. And I like to use this to spread the glue, believe it or not. So here goes the glue. What kind of glue am I using, Willie?
Using 2P10.
And I buy that at a local place where I buy wood for cabinets, but you can buy it online. You know, but all the other stuff you guys are using is basically the same dang thing. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so I got that glue spread, and here's where I don't want to get it a bunch on top of the body, because then trimming becomes a little more of a chore. And I have it labeled out and up. I'll grab the car with my hands here, and then I'll set the gaps with my eye, kind of where I want them. And I'll hold that on there.
10 seconds.
That's right. So I'm going to grab this glue here at the top and just erase it a little bit. Okay, look at the bottom, it's clean.
It's about 10.
Okay, so that wheel's rubbing a little bit right there. That's okay, we'll fix that. And then that wheel's just tight in there. Alright. So there's that side. Okay, let's move on. So we can put these two wheels in and see where we want to be. Right, Will?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is our non-dominant wheel. We know that one's not going to spin, and we know this is too big for this because we want it nice and tight to that wheel. So I see the space there, and I'm going to go ahead and draw a template and then just make it a little big. Just do the apex about right there. Okay, so let's see how this works out. Now we got the sides done. Well, not really done, but done.
Finish with that part.
Right. So now what do we got to do?
We gotta cut the parts.
We got to put the front ones on.
Yeah.
So we already got the front ones done from our mess ups, right? So I'm
Mhm.
just going to trace that right there. We'll cut that out. Now this is scary because I'm close. Okay, let's glue that on. See where we want that there. We'll start right there. Okay. What do you think, Will?
I think this may be a little tricky because it's getting more thin.
Yeah, a little more thin. You can't use too much glue because then you're gonna have a hard time shaping it because that glue, believe it or not, the glue is really hard to cut through. And when you do these, they become so flimsy because it's very. Okay, that side we're gonna do nice and tight. But this next side we got to make sure we leave plenty of relief. So you can see how that radius just envelops that wheel perfectly. Right, Will? Is it showing up on camera good?
It's showing up great.
Okay, how about next to my face? How's that look? Is that uglier? Alright, here we go. Okay, so I got the front one here ready to go, but I'm going to show you a little issue here. So I see that my gap is good here on the dominant front wheel, but towards the bottom I know I'm going to rub. So before I put this front fender on, I'm going to go ahead and give myself a little bit of insurance and take it back to the saw, and I'm gonna here, Will. So I'm just gonna trace. I want to take some meat out right here, just to make sure I don't rub that wheel. That's perfect. Okay, here we go. That goes right there. Now again, if you make them tight, you can always relieve it. But if they're too loose, you cannot make it grow back. And then when guys see your car at the race, they'll start making fun of you and say, Bulldog, you got too big of gaps. And I'll say, okay, appreciate the input, and I'll fix it. Alright, here we go. There we go, right there. Oh. Boy, that's... So you're not gluing to much on the front. So a lot of times when you're building these, when you start to shape the front, they want to pop, but once you're done and you seal the whole thing in CA or glue or whatever you're going to seal it with, it bonds it to the body. So if they pop, they pop. Glue them back on and stop pouting. Right, Willie?
Yep.
Do your best and
Do your duty.
no. Do your best and forget the
Forget
rest.
the rest.
That's right. Okay. So there's our start. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna get out my ruler. I'm gonna get out my pencil, and I'm gonna go from corner to corner. This gives me my rough layout here, so that I can start sanding these. And again, this is the Lightning Boy X3 design, man. So this is the X right here that we're drawing. See that, Will? See the X?
Yep.
There's the X there. Let's draw an X over here. X, X. Now, let's go shave the front flush, and then we can draw those lines.
Sounds great.
Alright, so put your ear protection on, buddy.
Okay.
Because this is kind of loud, noisy. In the film, I'm going to edit this noise. But man, this belt is loud. Okay, so the nice thing about balsa is how fast it sands. So you can see I just left it proud of the front because I don't want to hit the front of my car and make it shorter. We want to keep it a full 7 inches. So now I'm going to draw the front of this car. The point is right there. The point is right there. Point is right here. Point is right there. I know what Willie's going to want to do for his Mid-America car. Huh.
Yeah. It's gonna be hard, Rich. All I want to do when I want to do this is just look at this video.
Oh, you think this video will help you?
Yeah.
What do you think the guys will think of this video, man?
Pretty sure they'll be pretty surprised.
Okay, can you see that on film?
Yep.
Okay, there's that. The cheap Harbor Freight
Flip
this over. It works really good. The switch is broke on it, so I wired on a switch I got here on this table. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start manipulating this belt sander, and I'll come here and I'll get the edge. I'll do all kinds of stuff, but I do it all on this belt sander. I think this is a $30 belt sander at Harbor Freight. what I'm doing is I want to make sure I don't go into the bottom of the car. So I'm just leaving the belt sander just shy of the bottom, just shy of the top of that car. So that's what I'm doing there. Put those ears back on, Willie. I just stopped it so that they could hear me talk. So there's our rough cutout, and that's just all on the belt sander. And you can see how fast that goes and how smooth those really are. What do you think, bud?
I think that's pretty sick.
Okay, so now for the next part. So this is where you want to start having something to set the car on, because you don't want to start setting it down on those points now. So we're going to go ahead and put these wheels back in. Okay. I know what you guys are thinking right now. You're thinking, damn, Bulldog can do this. I can do this. He's an idiot. So, that's exactly right. You can. You can do it. And I want to see you do it. I want to see you race those cars. Okay, so here's our wheels. So, of course, we're going to have washers on the car. So we know it's going to be bumped out, the thickness of the washer. but this is going to get me started here. So I know this, I want this to be right here. I don't want these to protrude past my car. I think in the beginning I was making them too big. It'd probably be better to have more of a fine tip on what you're using to draw, but this will work. Okay, so we know this is our non-dominant, and you definitely don't want your trailing fender sticking out. So there's my reference points of those wheels. And that's how skinny we're going to make this here. Okay. Let's go ahead and now we're going to trace this down to points here. So here's about the center. Here's about the center. We know we're going to go towards the center. Okay, towards the center. So this needs to go a little bit tighter here. This needs to come out a little bit there. This is just reference points for me. Remember how I said some of this is art? Well, I'm sure you guys could use a ruler and get it all scientific, and that'll probably be better. But for me and my house, this is how I like to do it. Right, Willie?
Mm-hmm.
Bulldog Racing, right?
Bulldog Racing.
Cool.
It's another X.
That's right, it's another X. Very good observation. What do you think, buddy?
This is awesome.
Okay. There's the top. Guess what we got to do down here?
Same thing.
This is where, same thing. It cannot rub the track. Don't risk rubbing the track here, guys. If it rubs the track, you're going to be like, Bulldog, those fenders suck. And I'll be like, yep, they do. They do. I'm just showing you this to slow you down. Right, Willie?
Let's hope not.
No, we don't do that. Okay. I used to get real fancy with how I drew this rough part on there, but goodness gracious, you're sanding it off anyways. Okay. Okay, there's all my reference points. So now, we're going to go over to that sander and go to work. Guys, here we go. My camera's having a little bit of problem keeping a charge, so I waited. I popped one of these fenders off when I was sanding, glued it back on, and here's my rough sanding on the belt sander. So you can see I got it to my lines on all those outside lines, which are easy to get to on the outside. You can't do the inside lines, obviously, with the belt sander. So what I do here is you can see these nubs sticking out. I'll go through with the sandpaper. This is just like 150 grit sanding discs that I use here in my shop. And I'm going to go ahead and just start sanding these nubs off. And you just get everything, start shaping everything. Where you get the outside kind of where you like it. I like to work the outside, get them kind of finished. And then when you work the inside, the fenders become more fragile and more fragile the more you work them. So get all the hard stuff done and then finish on those inside cuts, which make them pretty fragile until you get your glue on them. Another thing that I did here is I just took a little block of wood, take a piece of this sanding paper, and I glue it to the block of wood. And that will help you sand later on, but it helps you keep flat, straight edges. So it's a great little tool. It's basically free, and you can make any size sanding blocks that you want, but for these I just use a small one.
So all you need is extra wood, cut it, put sandpaper on it, glue it on that, and you got it.
There you go. So you can see how I start to get that outside shaped really nicely. And then that transition is just nice. But see, that belt sander does a lot of that work that would take a long time. You just got to be careful not to go past your lines. And practice makes perfect, guys. So just practice them. I mean, the balsa's so cheap, doesn't cost you much to practice. Okay, so I'm going to keep sanding these, and then I'll put the camera back on and show you how I cut this next part out. Okay, guys, we let the camera charge. And while it was charging, I did one side here. So here's the finished side. And how long did this take me, Willie, to do that side? About 15 minutes?
Yeah.
So I'm going to show you how I shaped it from this side to get that in. And here's your answer. It's a simple razor knife. Make sure the blade is a nice sharp blade. And I'm going to show you how I do it. So I'm going to start here, right at the tip. And I'm just going to follow my line. And I'm going to do multiple passes. And the key here is don't go deeper than the body. You're actually going to stop short of the top of the body. So I've made a few passes there, and this is just to get the majority of the meat out. Okay, so there's the majority of the meat right here. Okay, so now you can see I got just an ugly piece sticking up there, but that's where my little handy dandy block comes in, and I'm just gonna sand that down with the block. And it's actually really easy to do. It's kind of relaxing. You can sit and do this in front of the television. You can do it, you can teach your wife how to do this. Why are you laughing, Willie? Would Mommy do this?
Yeah.
No. She'd say, go do it yourself, punk. All right.
That's why I'm laughing.
Yeah, I know. So there you go. I mean, you can see how I shaped that side. This side I'll just, shape it a little bit more to where I want it. And there you go. There's that side. So you can see how that looks. Let's go ahead and do this other back one here. Be really careful when you get to the tips. So I got through it pretty well. I'll just cut that meat off. Now I leave quite a bit on there, but that just gives you a start for your block and how to sand it. And there you go. And be careful, it's still fragile until you CA it or until you super glue it. So, but you can see how fast that sanding block just gets it right down. Talk about, I mean, it's really no-brainer, guys. It's pretty easy to build them like this. I like doing the one piece because then you don't have any seams to, because see, wherever you glue this together, it sands a lot different on that glue. Like here where the glue's on the body a little bit, where it's oozed out, man, it takes a long time to sand through that CA glue. Okay, there's the top. Let's go ahead and flip it over. We'll do the bottom. There you go. And now the sanding block, right, Will?
Yep.
What do you think, buddy?
I think this is pretty dang simple.
You think you could do it?
Yeah.
I think you can too, man. I think you're gonna make your next fenders for your scout car. Well, I guess you're not a cub anymore, but you can enter the adult division, man. What do you think about that?
Awesome. I'm preteen.
Oh gosh. Don't ever say that again.
Okay.
Once you get the wheels on there, you take this over to your, a test piece of track or something, and make sure that the, see, I like to actually cut these underside of these. I taper them out so that I know the tall point is going to be the wheel, not the fender that's going to touch the edge of that track. So I like to taper them, and I'm just turning my block a little bit to do that. There's those. Let's go ahead and do this side. Now here, I don't want to go towards this other fender, so I'm going to come back this way, which I know I'd be losing my totem chip for doing this, but I'm the one who has to pay for my own stitches. Right, Will?
Yep.
You want a really sharp blade, by the way. So, do this all at your own risk. You probably will cut yourself, and that's your own damn fault, right, Will?
Yep.
Okay.
Dad's cut himself probably a little bit at times, but he's probably used to it by now.
I'm used to cutting myself?
Yeah, maybe.
I try to be careful, huh?
Yeah, that one's
Safety
good.
first.
Yep.
And have fun, right?
Yep. That's the number one rule.
Do we have fun?
Yep.
Okay, so let's, well, I guess let's show them how we do our front fender, too.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see how those are starting to get shaped. How do those look, buddy?
They look pretty good.
All right, let's do this one. These are tricky. These are tricky. This is why I like to have a hole in the front, too, because it helps me hold that fender like this, and then these want to break until you glue them. Get some glue on them, but man, you got to be careful. Finicky little punks. Huh.
Punks.
Okay, don't cut your finger. Okay, that gets me started. Now I'm going to use my, what am I going to use, Will?
Your sanding block.
That's right. How much did this cost me? Piece of sandpaper and a piece of scrap wood, right?
Yep.
So you can see how that fender's a little proud of the front, and I'll come and sand that last just to get it flush. So I hope you guys like this video. I hope it helps you. I really hope you start building these cars. They're a lot of fun, and they're really it's really rewarding to see that thing when you're done too. I mean, it's like, holy cow, did that just happen? You know, I mean, it's really fun to see it, work. And I've made quite a few of these now, and I've gotten better each time. So You know, go into it with knowing that and get good at it. I'm going to taper this one a little bit just away from the rail. And then I always test these on the track or a test track, or just cut a piece of wood that's, you know, the width of the rails and the height of the rails. Make sure those aren't rubbing. And there's our original lines there. Okay, see how it's sticking out there? Well, we'll just take it. A little harder doing this on camera because I'm trying to show you guys what I'm doing. Okay. Okay.
Looks awesome.
One more to go there, and then we do our final sanding and then our CA glue. Let's go ahead and put that camera away, and then we'll come back to show them our final sanding and our CA glue.
Action.
Okay, so I got my fenders all sanded. I stick the wheels on there just to test fit everything. I really like the way this one came out here. You can see how those are going to look. I really like these. I think it'll be a fast car. So now I'm going to take these wheels off and I'm going to seal the fenders. So I just sanded them down to 220. You can sand them even smoother if you want, but when I put the CA on, or the super glue, it really it makes them rough, and you got to sand them again anyway. So I don't really go to town sanding on the first sand. So get all those wheels off. This one didn't even need an axle, and I like to tape it off because I don't like to get a bunch of glue on the car if I don't need to. So this is just a nylon bristle brush. I'm going to take the glue. I'm just going to add some glue. I'm just going to paint it on. Well, this brush seems to be working great. Okay, I'll let that side dry for a second. Actually, I'll do the front one. This adds a little weight, but boy, it makes these strong. Be careful of the fumes. They're bad. Willie, don't be sniffing this glue. You hear me, boy?
Okay, Dad.
That's my compressor. That's not a bomb.
Kinda did scare me though.
Did it?
Yeah.
Is that why you just peed your pants a little bit?
Maybe.
Dang it, Will. Okay, so while that side's drying, let's do this side. How's that sound?
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, so I glued the whole thing. It's all dry. Now you can hear it's pretty stiff. You know, that really works. Now it's rough, so I'll just take that sandpaper again and I'll just sand it on up and just get it where it feels nice. Smooths out that glue. Be careful, because if you catch your edges, you'll snap them, because now they're hard but they're brittle. So just be careful of the top corners where those come to a point, but get them nice and smooth, and I'll get them ready for the showstopper. After this, I'm going to just apply a quick little coat of lacquer just to make them look awesome, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to sand these just to where they feel nice, and then I'll take like a 400 grit sponge and I'll just hit it real fast just to make it feel nice. But after this, it's all aesthetics now, you know. So get all the fur off, you know, get it looking good that way, and we'll move on from there. So I'll show it to you when I get it done sanded. Okay, so I got the car sanded with 220. I'll actually come over here and use one of my sanding sponges here. This is just like a 400. Just gets it nice and smooth. You can see that's just really sealed now. I mean, I love what that glue does to it. Makes them very rigid, makes them a lot stronger. You know they're not going to pop off real easy. And I like being able to see the wood grain still. It's kind of cool. Okay, now I got that all sanded up. Now for the finishing touches, I like this lacquer. It's just a touch-up lacquer that I use. It's Deft. You can get this at Home Depot. I like to use the gloss, and I'll just spray a little bit of final coat on there. I like to get in those wheel wells too, just to help seal them, but you can see what that does. I mean, that looks really good. And there we are. There we are. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I enjoyed making it. Willie, thank you so much for your help. Guys, make a fender car. Try it out. It's a lot of fun. It's not that complicated. You can do it. Send it in. Go visit PinewoodDerbyOnline.com. You'll learn all the secrets of the pros. Go visit National Pinewood Derby Race League. NPWDRL. Sorry about that. Go visit that and send in your cars to race. Check us out and please visit Derby Dad for Hire. He sponsored me right now, and I appreciate that. Go support him and build these cars, guys. If you have any questions, go ahead and post your questions, and we'll all work together on these things. And let's build Street Stock back up. Send them in for Box Stock. Send them in for Street Pro. And again, if you don't like the car, if it didn't work out for you, destroy it and start over. All right, guys.